Chris Taylor here for BNT TV. Very excited today because we're sitting with Gai Leroy, who's the CEO of IAB. How are you?
Very well, Chris.
Now, I'm a bit nervous because when I saw your surname, I just saw Roy in the surname. And as a massive Succession fan, are you part of the Roy clan?
Well, Leroy means, the king. So, definitely part of that royal family.
And it's Leroy, so you're like French Succession.
That's it. Even worse, even more brutal.
Were you a fan of the show?
Love the show. Miss it dearly.
I know, it's going to be very hard to replace, isn't it? Now, we're here to talk about advertising. A question I always like asking people in the biz, do you like ads?
I like some ads. I like that ads support a whole lot of great content and services, but great ads are great, bad ads are bad.
But that's sort of the professional answer. I guess I want to know, when you're sitting at home watching a show you love and then ads come on, you go, ugh. Or is there part of you goes, oh, the ads are on?
So I love them. So if you ask my partner who wants to skip every YouTube ad and I make him watch them, so I guess I do like the ads.
Wow. Best ad you've seen in the last month or so?
Oh, gosh. This is always a terrible thing that none of us know the answer to this, right?
Would it be easier in the last year or so? The last 10 years. Has there been a good ad in the last 20 years?
You know what I find amazing about the Australian advertising industry, and Brent Smart will love this, but we make good insurance ads, and that just blows my mind that in Australia, in what could be the most boring category in the world, the insurance companies compete with each other and make amazing ads. So it shows you can do anything.
I reckon I've cried in an insurance ad. Would it be NRMA? There was some sort of hard luck story, and it was this beautiful, epic 3-act story.
Absolutely. I think it was NRMA, the house is burning down. There's always, a koala in the background, something to trigger those emotions. They're like the Telstra ads of their day, aren't they?
Yeah. The other ones that I really like lately, and coming from a very much position of someone like your partner who fast forwards the ads, the Cadbury ads that are very human stories. There's a girl in the servo station who leaves her dad a block of chocolate. And the new one is a guy, I think he's getting ready for a job interview in the car and he's on the phone and someone says, check the glove box. And they're kind of like these Ken Loach films. They're very beautifully done. Story's the key, I think.
They take you on a journey, right? Yeah. There's highs, there's lows. Have you bought Cadbury chocolate because of it, Chris?
Absolutely not. No, no, I'm a Lindt man through and through. But it's sort of odd for me to sort of recognise a cinematic quality in a 30-second spot. And I thought, I don't know if they're working or whether people in your industry like them, but from someone who comes from a storytelling perspective in scripted content, I can see the writing in those ads.
So I think we're really good at still those long form ads. I think short form is the tricky one, to be able to tell a story in 6 seconds, which is where the young folks, I would say, over on the TikToks are really good at that quicker short storytelling. So I think we've got a lot to learn from some of those new formats to get that sort of middle ground, so we don't always have to tell something in a 3-minute long storytelling ad.
Now, IAB, you specialise in digital and online advertising.
Yeah.
Isn't all advertising these days kind of digital advertising, or certainly heading that way?
Mostly. I think there might be a few sort of back of taxi ads still going around somewhere, but about 70% of ads at the moment are digital ads of the investment in the advertising market.
The ones I still get a bit of a laugh out of, you might not have known, you'd know about them because you're in the biz, but in the men's toilets at airports, there's the urinal ads. It's either directly above or sometimes even forgive me for getting a bit blue here, but they're called the trough lolly guard or something. It's that bit of plastic over the fragrant lollies that, I don't know why we call them lollies. We do. In Australia, we call them trough lolly. They still exist, and it's always like quite niche advertising, like for someone's personal services to be an MC at a corporate gig. Elliot Goblet, I always see advertising in toilets.
Well, luckily they're not digital, because you would worry, right, if that was like personalised advertising there. So, yeah, there's still some non-digital, but mostly digital.
Mostly digital. Would you regard yourself as a techie or a creative?
Neither. I would consider myself, and I don't know the right word for this, but media-y. So my love is of media, of content, and ads supporting investment or add investment to drive media. So my background's research, consumer behaviour, understanding the economics of media companies. So I get away with the tech, though maybe my team wouldn't think that. And the creative side of things, I'm amazed by creatives, but that's not my natural point and strong point.
You had heard of TikTok earlier, I noticed. So that for me, you're a tech expert. If you've anyone our age who's heard of TikTok, I reckon we're doing all right.
There's Threads too now.
Threads.
Yep.
Are people getting on board Threads?
On board with Threads.
What's that about? Because I know everyone's sort of a bit, oh, we don't like Elon Musk and what he's doing and what he represents. But if you're just giving one man all the power and monopoly of the three biggest social media sites, isn't that equally problematic?
Well, they're both our members, so I love them both dearly, but maybe it's better than a cage fight to have it sort of, social media platform development as their fighting ground.
I don't know. I'm a bit anti-social media. I'm not on it or anything like that. But when I just see Zuckerberg, if he's in charge of Facebook, Instagram, and now Threads, and that's the new Twitter, that makes me nervous. That's like the new Murdoch, getting back to Succession. That's like, there's no diversity in media ownership then.
Yeah, look, there's other social media platforms. There's Snap. There's TikTok, as we've talked about. There's Reddit. There's a whole lot of weird communities going on in Reddit. So there are other areas, but yes, there is some big players in the mix.
Now, we can never have these discussions, of course, in 2023 without venturing into the topic of AI. Very big topic for all industries, and yours isn't alone. Are you scared of it? Are you excited by it? How are you approaching AI?
I'm generally excited. I think there's probably going to need to be some sort of guardrails. I do worry about some of where it could go, not in terms of the conspiracy theories of taking over the world, but ethically, what data's being fed into models, I think we're going to have to look at. But overall, to be able to do things more efficiently, tasks that people don't want to do, it's brilliant.
Well, what sort of tasks? Where do you see it being a great benefit?
So I think at the moment, from a creative point of view, it does a lot of the heavy lifting in the early sort of designs. If you were storyboarding, you could easily use AI for that. For copy, so I think it's that starting point. It's, what's my base level? Give me something I can then edit. I can build off the top of it. I can add that creative flavour on top of it. I really hope it is in the creative sphere can help with maybe not personalisation is probably too pointed, but making a better range of ads. So at the moment it's so expensive if you do your one big 3-minute ad, and then if you want to tailor it for different audiences, it's a hell of a lot of work. Whereas AI has that opportunity to really just add some nuance for different audiences. So hopefully that'll come through.
And are you finding just in discussions with colleagues and other industry peers that there's generally a willingness to embrace it or almost just an inevitability about it?
Look, it's the advertising industry. They all pretend they're already doing it, and each person is doing it in the most sophisticated way. So getting under the hood of what's happening at the moment, there's a lot of stuff that's probably just closer to very smart machine learning. Yep. But yeah, everyone's got it in their pitch decks. The word's not being sort of hidden away.
Yeah. And when you talked about your ethical concerns, what are sort of the worst case scenarios where you think the machines may get away from us?
Well, I guess it's what goes into the machine. So it's more, for me, it's the bias in the training models, making sure we're putting the right information in, because there's a certain amount of feeding into whatever's fed in. Can be continually amplified. So as we've seen with algorithms in the past, so making sure that we're really having non-biased data in there and a really good mix of information going into those models.
Speaking of accuracy and all of that, you've put out some material recently on ad fraud. How big an issue is ad fraud, do you think? And what is ad fraud?
Yeah, so look, any marketplace that's got a lot of money involved ends up getting bad players, criminals, fraud in there. So ad fraud is a major factor in our industry. We put out an ad fraud handbook, which is very, very exciting.
Do you know you put it out, or could it be a bootleg copy that someone else has put out?
Maybe. I hope they're not monetizing it. But so we do a lot of things to just try and help marketers in particular make sure that they know when they're buying inventory, buying ads in places, that they're getting what they ask for. So tips on how to avoid. It's like going to a market and buying a fake handbag, tips on how do you find the genuine piece.
What are examples? Can you give any sort of real world examples of ad fraud that you've come across?
So, I mean, there's what's called domain spoofing. So there'll be players that sort of redirect traffic in illegal ways to pretend to be the New York Times, and they'll get money through people thinking they're advertising on New York Times. There's clickbot farms, so, people actually doing fake clicks. There's a whole range of different ways that people will try and game the system. So it's up to, I guess, marketers and agencies to go, okay, this deal looks too good to be true, or just keeping track of what they're doing and knowing what they're buying.
Have you done your due diligence for this interview? Do you know this really is B&T TV, or am I some imposter or a Chris Taylor deepfake maybe?
Possibly. It would be a lot of effort to have hired out the same office that the real B&T crew have, and it's messy enough to be the real B&T.
Well, you'd be surprised what they've pulled off today, because this is deepfake Chris Taylor signing off for B&T TV. Thanks so much for your time.
Pleasure, Chris.
Bye now.